We acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work, rest, and play, the Bunwurrung people of the Kulin Nation and the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains, and pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging. We also wish to extend that acknowledgement to the First Nation people of the lands in which you are listening from and any First Nation people here today. We're back, witches.
Part two.
Part two. Yes, so what up, witches? Welcome to Witchin podcast. I'm your host, Darren.
And I'm Vicky. I hope you've all been doing really well.
And hopefully you've just been going back to back and smashing these out.
Yeah, just going boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, so if you don't know what I'm talking about, we've decided for our comeback episode, we're making them into mini-sodes just to make it easy for you all to listen, because we know a lot of you are listening on the train or on the bus or in the car or, maybe while you're doing your grocery shopping, whatever you're doing, so we're going to make them more bite-sized. Like when we have a guest, different story. But when it's just us, we can make them smaller and cut them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So we've already done part one, which we were hearing all about Vicky. Yes, all about you.
It's all about me. It's all about me.
I was letting ladies go first because I'm so chivalrous.
I was going to say, look at you being all gentlemanly.
Of
I
course
love it.
Hello.
I know.
Have you met me?
I have. Well, no. All right. So then that means now it's my turn to put you in the hot seat.
Okay.
Isn't it? So part two, we're going to find out. So lovely.
I live in the hot seat because let's face it, I'm seated and I'm hot.
I was waiting for it. Okay, where are we going here?
Anyway.
So my love, what have you been up to since we last spoke on the podcast?
Okay, so since March. Okay,
yeah.
So
what have you been up to in the spiritual, witchy, woo-woo, weird and wonderful world?
Okay, so to start off, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. So, sadly...
which one?
No, not you. Not you.
I'm sitting there like, oh no, which one? What's happening?
No. As in, so last episode, I was talking about over-intellectualizing your practice, and then I was going to thank Spirit for giving me the time, energy, and space to finish off Temple of Witchcraft and whatever. It didn't happen, guys. So, guys, girls, people... indifferent, everyone. It didn't happen. So,
you know what? That's cool.
It was a lot. It was a hard pill to swallow because I had put so much pressure on myself, and it was something I really wanted to do. But because of the fact that I had fallen behind, my brain said anything that I do from this point is going to be half-assed. It's just going to be pushing through to get it done, which is just going to be ticking a box to say I completed it. Have I really completed it? Not to the fullest of my ability. And I didn't want to be that witch. Yeah. Like to me, if I'm going to do a course, I'm going to do the goddamn course. Yeah. I'm not just going to sit there and go, oh yeah, quickly submit something. Tick, 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 done. I'm a witch. Like I'm already a witch. I don't need the course to be a witch. You know what I mean?
No, it's about that growth, that personal thing, that personal experience.
Exactly. And even though I thought I was ready, life just got in the way.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And there's no tea, no shade with Temple of Witchcraft. Like I'm still friends with Christopher and everyone. I may re-enroll. Mm-hmm. I may still re-enroll because I bought a bloody robe for my graduation. I bought the cord and made my own cord and did cord magic so that when I graduated, I had my cord ready. I've got all 5 colors to do all 5 degrees. Like I'm still putting it out there. I've kept them all.
Yes. Can I ask you something on that? Because I know it was something that you had wanted to do for a really long time as well. Mm-hmm. How did you feel about like coming to that place of being able to let it go and go, you know what, I'm not doing what I need to do and I don't want to do the tick boxes thing? How did you feel? I haven't really worded that question.
Horrible. No, I felt horrible. It caused me, because I gave up on that, I went through this whole thing of I'm a fraud. I'm not really a witch. This is only witchcraft level 1. This should have been a walk in a park. Why was it so hard for me? Maybe I can't call myself a witch. Maybe I should just stop everything. Mm-hmm. I even got to the point where I contemplated going, no, I'm just going to pack up shop and who cares? Let's just not do this anymore because it's not me. Yeah. Like I actually went down that dark path. Yeah. For a lot of time. And then I realized after the fact is that it was another form of witch imposter syndrome where we just, our inner saboteur comes out and we project it out into the world and then it stops us from achieving greatness.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Maybe it's because
it's safe. Because it's safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's safe not to be out there, isn't it? It's safe.
100%.
Well, like our system, our internal system thinks it's just much safer.
Well, because even on that note, when I'd be talking to people, like for the last 6 months when I'm talking to people and they say, oh, what do you do? And I said, oh, yeah, I work at a gym. I teach at 4 gyms. I manage 2. I have a YouTube channel, a podcast. Da, da, da. And they go, oh, what's the podcast? I'm like, oh, Witchin and Bitchin. And they go, what's that about? I'm like, witchcraft and spirituality. Those I answer quickly. They go, oh, you're a witch. I pause. Why do I pause? So it's taken me the last 6 months. I've been curbing that habit and just going, yeah, I'm a witch. What of it?
Yep.
Do you have questions? And every time I just go, yeah, I'm a witch. People are like, oh my God, me too. I don't know why I've projected this version of reality that I think that me saying yes and giving a confirmed affirmation, that's going to lead to them being negative.
Yeah, I know. I'm exactly the same. I know exactly what you're saying. I'm exactly the same. It's really taken me recently to start actually answering that question properly.
Yeah, because it's like, and even to the point where now I used to separate church from state.
Yeah, but it is.
As in, I used to separate my witch self, my spiritual self from every other aspect of life.
Yeah.
However, one of the other things I've done, which I'm going to touch on in a moment, has forced me to bring my spiritual practice into my workplace.
Yes.
Now think of it. I work at a gym.
This is gold. I love it.
But I'll get to that.
Yes. But thank you for answering that, because I just wanted to share, because I mean, I saw you through that time as well, so I know what it was like. But I think it in the end, it's actually kind of forced you to kind of go back to you found this other version of yourself, and you found the path that's actually more aligned.
Which is so funny because I've gone full circle.
You. Yeah, you have. And it's beautiful.
So from Temple of Witchcraft, I always said to Vicky, because y'all know that I'm obsessed with Kyle Gray. He is my forever man crush Monday. Forever. Like there's just that, like, y'all know that I'm an Outlander fan. Any guy with a Scottish accent is hot in my books. And yeah, anyway, so I always said to Vicky that when his certified angel guide course ever comes up next, if I've got the money, I'm going to do it. And when things was winding up with TOW, it came up and it happened to be on sale. It was a discounted amount, and I looked in my bank balance and I had almost the exact dollar amount, like to the dollar. No coincidences. So I didn't even question it. I had other bills to pay, but I told myself if I had the money in my account. And funnily enough, when I did that, I gave gratitude for it. Thank you, angels, for putting the money in, the necessary funds in my account in order to do that. All of a sudden, I got money that I wasn't expecting back into my account to pay my bills. I was like,
so then it came back around.
What the fuck? Like it span me out.
Yes, I love it.
So I finished that. So I didn't allow history to repeat itself. I actually finished my certified angel guide qualification.
Yep.
Have I started practicing as a certified guide? Not yet, because to me, it's, again, I have integrity and I don't just want it to be a tick and flick exercise. I did all the things to get the qualification, but now I actually want to live and breathe in this space for a while to have a genuine connection with my angel guides and my angels. So then that way, when I'm facilitating or doing these like angel parties or whatever you want to call them, I feel like I'm doing it with some level of integrity. I haven't just gone on, done an online course and I'm an angel guide now.
I'm good now.
I'm not like that. So, and as part of that, to further develop myself, I also did his angel card mastery course. So, and again, that's another thing. And I actually did my practice on you.
I know.
So, and I don't know. I think I did pretty good.
I think you did too. I think it was so good. It was on point, the whole thing. I loved it.
So,
it was great.
So that's another thing that
so excited.
I'm actually watch this space, people, because I'm probably going to be putting that online in the near future, saying that because I've always offered tarot, but now I might actually go down the road of offering angel card readings. But again, I want to sit with the cards, really get to know them, so I don't have to be that guy that looks at the book every 5 minutes. Because angel cards are a whole different ballgame to me.
It's all different, isn't it?
Because there's no one way to read an angel card, like, or oracle card for that matter.
Like there's no base to it, like there is for tarot. Like often they're all kind of to some degree based upon sort of like the Rider-Waite, Smith system that there is sort of like the Four of Swords is usually always around about this kind of meaning.
Yeah.
In whatever, doesn't matter whose deck it is, it's usually a similar meaning. Whereas Oracle cards, it's just that particular deck.
It's funny that you should mention the Four of Swords just randomly.
I know. I just feel about that.
Because Four of Swords has been where I've been living for the last few months. As in, Four of Swords, for those that don't know tarot, is all about taking a rest or recovery position, basically to avoid burnout.
Wow, it really is too.
To avoid burnout. And also it's all about going within and offering things like prayer and meditation and like all of that, a necessary pause in order to recharge because you've burnt out. And funnily enough, the last 6 months, I've been so focused on my health and fitness that on top of teaching 22 classes, I've been doing F45 with my husband because I always say couples that train together stay together. I'm
in trouble.
But no, we've been doing that as a means of like, because that's another thing. Like, I've got so many things on my plate, but I want to keep giving back because that's important to me.
Yeah.
So we do that together. Then I go off and teach. So I've been living such a physical life for so long for the last 6 months, like shredded myself the house down boots. Still got a long way to go, but still it's a work in progress. But then basically because of that, it's interesting because a lot of people are like, how are you not burnt out? But it's because of the next thing I'm about to touch on, which,
yes.
And you mentioned that something came up on Instagram and you randomly went down the rabbit hole, blah, blah, blah. Same thing happened to me. So I have an assortment of instruments behind me. Crystal singing bowls and a Tibetan bowl and a shamanic drum and koshi chime up the corner. Oh, by the way, if you don't know what a koshi chime is, let me just show you this.
Oh, yeah, please do. I love them.
Hopefully it doesn't ruin the sound.
No, it's coming out good.
How beautiful is that?
Oh, I love them so much.
Anyway, I'll stop playing with it because I could sit there playing that all day.
I'll just like zone off while we this will be beautiful.
But yeah, so I have all 4 of them and I have all 7 crystal singing bowls because
you always has to have all the things. You're like one man band.
It's true story. So anyway, I randomly saw this course for sound healing. It's a level 1 crystal singing bowl practitioner course through Rainbow Sounds. Shout out to Rainbow Sounds and shout out to Lily Kim. So she's the facilitator that did the training. And I drove all the way out to Torquay from Melbourne. That's a good couple of hours drive. And we nearly met, we did. Vicky was so close to coming over, but coming. The borders were shut between South Australia and Victoria.
Yeah.
So she couldn't come because they wouldn't have let her cross the border. No. Because I think we were having another peak in the pandemic on our side or something, and Adelaide didn't want people going there from here and whatever.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, or as I was going to go over there, and actually, I think it was you guys would let me in, but then I don't think I could come back.
You couldn't come back, because Adelaide wouldn't want anyone from Melbourne going there.
Yeah, don't want any of your germs.
Yeah, exactly. Because apparently Melbourne has different germs to South Australia.
Everywhere else.
So I went to this course and I got so in my head about it because I'm like, oh my God, I wanted to go with a friend and now I'm going by myself and everything. But the whole drive there, because it was early in the morning, I wasn't going to ring you. I was listening to Kyle Gray talking about the different angels because in addition to Certified Angel Guide and Angel Card Mastery, I've also just completed my first year of Angel Team, level 1 or whatever you call it, first year Angel Team with him.
Yeah.
I haven't re-signed up for the second year only because I want to absorb everything that I learned in first year because there was a lot. Yeah. Like I had to get to know, well, I still have to get to know at least 12 angels like intimately.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to talk to.
There's a lot of meet and greets happening there.
Yeah. And so I want to form a really genuine bond with each and every one of them. So I know who to call on for different things. So when I'm doing these angel parties or doing angel card readings, I know who to call upon and whatever. Yeah. So I'm kind of letting that marinate for a bit because we all know meat tastes better when it's been in the marinade overnight.
Yes, that's right.
I don't know where I went with that, but anyways, so I was listening to the angel related stuff in the car on the way to Torquay, and then I think I did ring you at one point.
You did, yeah.
Because while listening to it, and I can't remember what it was, there was a particular angel that we were supposed to be meeting or whatever. And I remember I drove down into this valley, and there was fog, and all of a sudden the fog lifted, and then I came up, and the sun streamed through, and it was just like, and it was literally talking about feeling the heat coming in from the back of your head and whatever. And as I've come out of this valley, the sun has hit me at the back of the head and has warmed me up. And I'm like, oh my God, like the synchronicity of that alone blew my mind. And it was talking about gliding through the clouds. And I literally, as I said that, I drove into this valley and it was literally driving through fog.
Yeah. It was just like you couldn't see anything. There was nothing. And
it just, there's so many
I love
things.
that sort of stuff. Yes.
So it just blew my mind. Shout out Kyle Gray. Like, love your work. Seriously, he never ceases to amaze me. Even so much as like, okay, no, I digress. I'll go back to that later.
All right.
So sound healing. I did the crystal singing bowl thing. Of course, I had to buy all the bowls. Jumped straight in the deep end. Did a singing bowl private viewing for a few people. Then after that, it was Easter Monday was the first one I did, and I had 25 people rock up to my first ever singing bowl sound healing thing. I'd never done it before. And they all loved it. They thought it was amazing. Now, since that day, I now teach I teach Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night. So always 3 per week.
Yeah.
Of crystal singing bowl, like sound healing sessions where I bring in my shamanic drum, I bring in my koshi chimes, I bring in my Tibetan bowl, I bring in my rain stick, I bring in my juju shaker, like all this other stuff.
In a gym.
I love it. So, like, I'm just blessed and thankful that my gym trusts me enough to bring in something so non-gym like into the gym sphere, and the members are frothing over it.
Yeah,
because it's that one thing that they felt like they were missing out of their recovery.
Yeah, so in reality, it's like the perfect synchronicity. Like it matches and complements it beautifully.
Yeah.
With all of the physical aspects to it as well.
100%. And so like, I mean, there are some people that come to the gym and they do have like the astral traveling and communicating with the dead and all these like downloads and whatever else. There are others that just come in and have a glorified nap.
Yeah, have a beautiful relaxation, a bit of a clear and a cleanse, and off they go. Not that they even realize that that's what's happening, but they're having that beautiful relaxation and fills their cup up. And
there's actually been quite a few times, which I'm blessed and honored to have participated and facilitated this, but there have been a few times where people have had some pretty like earth-shattering breakthroughs and breaking down into tears and stuff like that, and then and I could feel their energy because I'm an empath, so I feel their energy when I'm doing it, and so then I'll go up to them while they're still under, you know what I mean, as in while they're still comatose
in a past, and
I'll just intuitively play particular instruments over them or whatever. And the thing is, I said this on the last episode, that when I was over intellectualizing tarot, I disconnected from my intuition because I was over intellectualizing it. Yep. This has reconnected me with my intuition. It's completely just like pushed you straight back into it. Because singing bowls, there's no left brain. There's no manual. No. You just play. You don't think, you just do. Shamanic drum, you just do. Like koshi chimes, you don't get to choose where that crystal hits inside because it's got these little rods in it. Yeah. It just goes where it goes. And then you also you work out what sounds come after the next and what's going to be that journey, and you're creating that. Exactly. So it's a complete like intuitive practice. There's no, I mean, there's obviously a certain amount of thought, but even like most of the times with the guided meditation I do, I'll obviously have some thought as to, this is another note. On that note, because of what I've been doing, I'm now noticing more of the seasons and the moons and like the astrological signs, because we're doing so much more meditation. I try to bring in the energy of Leo or the energy of whoever, whatever, whenever, and depending if it's full moon, new moon, quarter moon, blah, 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 all of that stuff. So I'm changing the way that I deliver based on what we're dealing with. Yep. And the different season or the different sign, the zodiac sign that it's in, whatever the energy is. And if it's not a particularly standout thing, I just go with my gut. And like the other day I did one where I felt in the room that people wanted more happiness and more confidence. So at the end of the meditation, when I pulled them out, I put them into the seated position where they're still conscious, but they were still partially subconscious. And then I did some like hypnotherapy on them to bring in more happiness and confidence in their lives. And all these people like, oh my God, I really needed that today.
Yeah.
You're
And see,
welcome.
that's that again, that's you tuning back in,
Yeah.
like to tune into what people are needing and it's been that just natural progression that you're starting to come a bit more with the cycles and the seasons and the moon and all of those aspects. And can I just say, from watching like on the sidelines, it has been beautiful to watch you with your journey with like the sound and doing all of those things, because you can just see it just lights you up when you start talking about it, or when you do it, when you play and all the rest of it. So
I mean, how could it not though? I mean,
I know.
hang on.
I know.
Like, as an
Come on,
example,
do the thing.
I know this may cut out because of,
Yeah, actually,
like,
sometimes it does.
we'll just try this. Tell me if it does or not.
Yeah, it's cutting out.
Damn. Or what if I just do,
Yeah, it did. No, it's still cut out.
damn
It
it.
did it did like the first like little second or so, and then it went really quiet.
Let's see if I do this whether it changes anything.
Yeah.
So like changing settings back to what they were. Anyway, so how can you not be lit up when you're listening to like such
Yeah, it is.
creamy deliciousness?
And it's also beautiful because it's also a way for you as well. Like, you might be facilitating and offering that to other people and getting that experience, but you're also kind of
you're getting healed
in it.
100%.
Yeah.
And it has helped me. Like the fact that I'm so physically active, because I work out every morning with my husband, then I'm doing teaching
classes,
6 classes on a Monday, 5 on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday, 5 on Thursday, 2 on Friday. I think that's right. Anyway, something like that.
Yeah.
Plus the 7 days. Like, that's a lot of physical activity. And everyone's like, how the hell do you manage to do that? Because I'm lifting weights, I'm doing cardio, I'm doing all the things. But then I've got sound healing on Monday night, then I get on Tuesday night, then again on Thursday night. So, and then I do a stretch class, is my final class of the week. I was smart with that.
See,
I made sure that
I was gonna say, look at you go. That was
a stretch and meditation class is always the way I end my week.
Perfect.
So I'm doing so much of this inner while I'm doing all this outer, that it kind of just balances perfectly. And I guess that also brings me to the next thing, because then in addition to all of that, I also have started going to cacao ceremonies.
Yes. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, shout out to the Sacred crew. So this is sacred cacao. Anyway, beautiful. So now, one thing I do want to address quickly, because I know that it's a hot topic. We addressed it in the episode with you.
Yep.
I have done a lot of research on this. I'm not professing to be an expert on it, but I know that some people don't believe in cacao ceremony because of cultural appropriation and blah, 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 blah. However, this is one thing that I will offer for you, is that with Sacred, as in the team that I have actually been doing my cacao ceremony with.
Yeah, that you've aligned with.
So Dan and his team actually went to the Amazon, to the deep Amazon. I'm talking, it was something like 15-hour bus ride and a 6-hour canoe ride to get to this tribe.
Wow.
So they went to the heart of the Amazon jungle and they met the oldest indigenous tribes in South America.
Wow.
And so one of them is the Ashaninka tribe. So he actually went there, and now the Ashaninka tribe, which are of, I guess, Mesoamerican, so they'd be of Mayan or Aztec or something descent.
Yeah.
Especially being in the Amazon. But they've been working with cacao for obviously however long. Now, they were at risk of having their land taken off them because of the narcotic trade. So cocaine and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So Dan and his team, they now get it from the source. So they went there, met the tribe, learned all about it. They obtain it from the source, from the specific tribe. They cultivate and create it and then ship it.
Yeah.
And then it gets manufactured here into the end product. So obviously ship the cacao.
Yeah, the raw
stuff, raw cacao. But anyway, so this way, in my mind, because it's not cultural appropriation, because the money is going directly to the tribe and it has come from the tribe. There's no middleman, there's no corporate hierarchy, and any events that they run where they're charging for their events, either the money goes to the tribe or they donate it to other charitable causes. So when I go to these ceremonies and stuff, everything is done through human ticks, and the charity that they support is actually an Australian Indigenous charity. So for me,
beautiful.
I personally think that for me, it sits fine.
Yep.
Because even the practices, when we do the cacao ceremony, we acknowledge country of here.
Mm-hmm.
We also acknowledge the Ashaninka tribe. And the ceremony that Dan does, which is really beautiful, actually connects with all the 5 elements. Yep. So it's very in alignment with me being a witch.
Yep, definitely.
And so we do all of that. And just the words he says are so beautiful. Like, it almost brings me to tears every time we do it. But anyway, so it's a really beautiful practice. Yeah. Now, am I claiming that this is a traditional Mayan practice or anything like that? No. I'm not saying that what we're doing is exactly what the Mayans did. No one knows what the Mayans did because, unfortunately, due to colonialism, all records that were kept were destroyed.
We've lost all of that. Yeah, that's right.
But what I can tell you is he's taken what he's learned from the tribe themselves, and he's created the ceremony that he does, which is fusing theirs with ours and whatever else.
Yeah.
So I personally think it's beautiful, and I mean, I do too. Not even just from the ceremonial aspect. Like, I drink it daily.
Yeah, and it has amazing health benefits.
The antioxidants, it's good. Got so much magnesium in it, which is good for me being a very physical person.
Yes.
So there's all of that stuff, as well as it helps me get into my REM sleep of a nighttime because it helps relax me. Yeah. So there's just all those other things to it. But anyway, I'm not going to harp about that. But what I have been doing with them is doing ceremony every new moon. Yep. Which has reinforced me following the moon cycles. So where we go inwards and we do that purging and whatever, Yeah.
Yeah. So it's adding more. It's adding more and more to your personal practice as well of bringing that more connection, cyclic connection. Oh, sorry, just hit the microphone.
That's okay.
Definitely, everybody.
So then there's all of that. So I think, is that everything? Oh, then you mentioned Kundalini in your episode.
I did. Yes.
I'm intrigued, but I haven't started anything. But the reason I'm so intrigued is because Kyle does Kundalini yoga.
He does.
And since we interviewed him, I've been trying to go down that rabbit hole for so long, but finding a credible source is really hard. But now he's come out with his own website and he actually teaches it on there. And I'm like, do I want to sign up for another subscription?
I know. And I mean, when I say I've been doing it, I've only been doing little bits and pieces because, again, it's a hard thing to try to find, but I've just been exploring it a little bit more because it's starting to add that extra element. It seems to be something that keeps calling.
Yeah. Because I know that when we last spoke way back, I was doing a lot more yoga, but then since we haven't spoken, I haven't been doing yoga because I've been focused so much on the other forms of physical activity, but also Sanella went away for 3 months and Sanella is my yogi. She's the one I go to.
She's
so I do see others sometimes, but
in yoga, it seems to be one of those things. You just kind of find the teacher or the instructor or the person that you gel with, and then it just kind of becomes it. Like, it's the same if you go to a class and it's somebody's class, and even though they're a brilliant teacher, you'll go to its cover. It's like, there's a little bit of it's not my normal person.
Oh, did I experience that? Yeah. So that's one other thing I did, which is not spiritual. Oh, actually, no, there's some aspects of it that's spiritual. I went overseas, so I had to get all my classes covered, and my students didn't go.
No.
Most of them just like, nah, I'm not going to his class because he's not there.
Yep.
Even though I told them, like, you better bloody go to the gym. And
I've got them all sorted, all the thing. Nah, it doesn't matter. We do. We're creatures of habit. We find the people we gel with, and then so it works.
But on that note, just one thing I will quickly touch on, because obviously I mentioned cacao. I actually went to a cacao farm.
Yeah, which is fascinating to actually see the whole process, didn't you?
So we actually did the whole thing. So we went to the trees, we cultivated from the tree, we opened it up, we ate the fruit, like, because it's actually, when you open it up, it's got all these like little pods in it that have got this flesh on it. Wow. And so we're actually sucking the flesh off the little beans. You don't eat the beans. And then they normally they go through a fermentation process that the skin comes off, whatever the bean is left. And then from that, it gets dried, and then it gets dried again. And then because we didn't wait for that part because that takes ages, but with the next part, he then gave us the dried goods, and we roasted them the traditional way on this little fire thing.
Oh,
and we had to roast them. And then once they were roasted, because you could smell the cacao, the chocolate smell. Oh, so good. Then after that, while they were still hot, we peeled all the shells off.
Yeah.
And then we took the end product, put it through this old mill, like it's an industrial style mill that would grind them up. And we had to keep putting them through
That's
again
so
and again and again and again
good.
to make fine powder. Actually, no, when we made the coarse one, his wife got some, not guava. What's the other? We had mango and papaya. Mango and papaya fruit, because we were in Colombia. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Mango and papaya, and she put cacao nibs all over the top. Oh, so delicious.
Oh, wow.
Having raw cacao nibs on top of fresh fruit. Oh, you can thank me later.
Yeah.
And then after that, literally, if you get mango, papaya, cacao nibs, delish. And also they gave us some actual drinking cacao, because over there in Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, they drink cacao every morning.
Wow.
It's just
that's where it's
their day-to-day thing.
Yeah.
Although Latin Americans or Latinx people, it's weird. They get this, they use the cacao, they sweeten it by using I can't remember what the word is in Spanish, even though I knew it because we use it. Panela, which is a sugarcane, I think it's sugarcane syrup or sugarcane juice or something, sugarcane juice. Yep. And then so to make it sweeter, but then they put this, I don't know the English name, but it's this soft white cheese. They cut it into pieces and they drop that into the cacao.
Oh, they actually put it in there.
So you're having a hot chocolate with chunks of cheese in it that are just kind of floating around. So you sip in the cacao and it kind of makes it like creaminess, but then you can break off bits of the cheese and eat it, and it kind of, the cheese tastes like cacao. It's weird, but it's delicious.
I was going to say, I bet it tastes good though, doesn't it?
It's so good.
Yeah.
So good. So I actually was drinking cacao every day on my holiday. Beautiful. Which then kind of, because I'd been doing it here and then went over there, and then I was drinking it every day just because that's their way of life. They don't separate. Like for them, it's not like a ritualistic thing anymore. Yeah, it's just daily life.
Yeah. Which has a whole other beauty to it as well, where it's just incorporated into everyday life. It's not a separate thing. No. That we do still have that often we will still put it as a separate, our spiritual side of things or whatever. It's a separate part rather than having it as that mesh of our everyday life.
100%. But then the other thing that I did while I was overseas, because I was obviously in Colombia and then I went to Mexico, I got some pretty things. I've only got one of them here. You'll be able to see this because I've got white on.
Because you got white on it. It just stands out beautifully. So
it is I think it's malachite, the handle. It's basically a Mayan person with a jaguar headdress kind of seated. And then it's a dagger. So that's the handle. And then the base, the actual blade part is, guess what it is?
Obsidian.
Of course it is.
It has to be.
Because black obsidian was actually sacred to the Maya.
See? I love that.
Which I didn't know until I got there. I also got this other mask that I bought, which is it's a carving, and it's basically like half the face is a Mayan person and the other half of the face is like a skeleton. It's got this like laser cut engravings in it and stuff.
Oh, beautiful.
Because Mesoamericans believed in duality. Now, their definition for them is the Mesoamerican understanding of the universe was guided by parallelism or duality. So in Mesoamerican universe, everything formed a part of a pair. And one of the most fundamental dualities was that of the macrocosmos, or the divine powers in the universe, and the microcosmos, or life on earth.
Oh, wow.
So everything there was about duality. And you know me, I'm all about the yin and yang and all that other kind of stuff. So,
that would just gelled completely with everything.
Even though I have zero ancestry from Mesoamerica, but I felt so at home there. Like when we went to Chichen Itza, and there was one point where I remember the guide was talking and my brain stopped listening because I was feeling this vibration through my body and hearing almost like a hum. And the guide, a different guide, not the one who was talking because he was the historian, the other guide who was actually, he was Mystica and something else. There was two different tribes that he came from, like Apoteca and Mystica, I think were the two.
Yeah.
So he came over and he clicked in my front of my face. I was like, "Oh, what?" And he goes, "You feel it, don't you?" I'm like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "How do you know?" He goes, "Everyone that stands in this spot, when they're attuned to spiritual things, their face glazes over because I know that they're feeling it." I said, "What the hell?" He goes, "This specific spot where you're standing, this area has a high vibration."
Wow.
And I think that was the coolest is I was there on my birthday.
I was going to say, let everybody know, when did you actually go? It was awesome.
It was on my birthday. I made sure, I said, I'm going to Chichen Itza on my birthday because I wanted to do something spiritual for me.
Yeah.
And crazy shit happened. Like, we're talking about the gods and the one of the gods who brings thunder and the rain and whatever. And while we're talking about him, lightning bolt comes down literally above the pyramid, and all this thunder that was so loud, and this rain just came gushing. We looked like we were in a wet t-shirt competition. It was nuts. And I'm just like, it was sunny skies with blue and clouds and whatever.
Wow.
I don't know how that happened, but yeah.
But like, the weather can turn really quickly there, can't it?
Yeah.
Like within an instant.
It can. But I like to think of it as the fact that it was like,
I was going to say, it was all a little
the gods
bit
were listening.
Cosmic. Everybody was listening. It was beautiful.
But anyway,
so anything else that you've been up to, or does that wrap us up?
I think that's the majority. So I think we will leave it there for part 2. And then y'all will just have to tune in for part 3. And we'll talk about the next part of our journey.
We'll go over the next bit.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.